Hi there and welcome back to Jay's Toy Collection UK for another action figure collection video, and this time it's all about a galaxy far, far away. It's all about Star Wars. So before we get going, if you could hit that like button, leave your thoughts in the comments below. Subscribe if you're new to our channel, of course, tickle that notification bell. So behind me here is where the Star Wars collection, or some of it at least, is moving to. So before I do that, I thought, you are a YouTuber. You're supposed to document these kind of things. So I'm just going to show you the actual Star Wars collection as it is, and then we'll move it into this area behind me in the live stream section. Right, then we are in the toy room, so we'll start for an overview of how the Star Wars currently looks, and it's currently taking up about sort of 12 cubes of space all along the top and the row below the top here on the Kallax units in the toy room. So since I last did this, I managed to get the 8080 in there and lots of other bits within the collection. So this is kind of where we are at the moment, but we are going to do some moving. So since I've started collecting the Lego just over a month ago, I was going to have that behind me in the streaming section. That's all now moved to the garage, which will be an upcoming video as I build a Lego collection room in the garage. So now I've got space behind me on the top shelf in the live stream section. And I thought, right, I've got some nice room for these big posters to use. So I've managed to get one of each films of course, the original Star Wars trilogy. So I'm going to move my original figures from this top shelf into behind me on the live stream, because I think some of these big 3 3/4 inch vehicles that I like to use within the collection, I think they'll show up quite well on camera on the top shelf of the live stream section. And then it's going to free up this entire top row as completely free space in the toy room. And it's been a while since I've had completely free space, and especially the top shelf, which is very useful if any tall items get revealed. We'll start this section then by looking at sort of my prequel stuff. So I got very heavy into the Clone Wars and the prequel films over the last year or so. So this kind of cube here is representing mainly Attack of the Clones. We saw the Battle of Geonosis there and the diorama. So the diorama is literally from the Attack of the Clones line, I think way back in 2002. Managed to pick that up new in box for £100 off eBay. So that serves very nicely as the backdrop here, I think, for the 6-inch Black Series figures. And it fits in the cube by literally a millimetre of space. So Anakin from episode 1 finally got released this year. So he's just sort of standing there at the moment. As I say, all this will be moving. But I thought I might as well just get it on camera how it's actually looking before I do all the maneuvers and rip everything apart. So there is a Battle of Geonosis in all its glory. Quite like this shelf. I think that backdrop piece really sets it off very nicely indeed. And another pickup since I think we've last looked at the Star Wars is the Republic gunship. Again, I believe from the original Attack of the Clones 3 3/4 inch line. And it's absolutely massive. Imagine a 6-inch scale version of one of these. So that is in the shelf here. And I've done a bit of army building since I've last done a Star Wars video. So the 501st have grown significantly. There's Padawan Ahsoka. That Yoda can finally be replaced soon, because we'll be getting the version from the council chambers. So that will be a much better Yoda there. We come around into the other side for the Bad Batch at the back of the shelf there. And then we got the Coruscant Guard team at the front there. And more characters from more of the Clone Wars era. Little riser on the back, which is made out of a bit of table leg and some Star Wars wallpaper to give us a bit of height in this display. But that thing, yeah, absolutely massive. So that's my second shelf of Clone Wars. And there's even a third. I said I got a bit obsessed with the Clone Wars this year. So we come right to the top then. So we have the sort of carded figures at the top, so they're going to have to be moving. And we do have this massive 80TE as well, which I managed to pick up from eBay. Utterly huge there. So we've got the 332nd Trooper on the top, so Obi-Wan's crew. And we come around the corner and you will see the episode 1 figures of Qui-Gon. And there's a Darth Maul that will finally be replaced this year with the upcoming SDCC exclusive of Darth Maul with the soft goods and his little sort of Sith speeder bike as well. We've got Obi-Wan's ship on the top, dangling off what used to be the television aerial. So making use of the space, as I like to do, way up on this top shelf there. Bit of turtles in the corner, so you can see as the toy room pans around. And while I'm up there, we can see underneath the X-Wing. So the X-Wing, again, 3 3/4 inch scale, hanging from the ceiling. And as we go across, the TIE Fighter is over there. And I have got room for the N1 as well to hang off the ceiling. Right then, and then we start with A New Hope and sort of the Cantina alien band there. A little bit of the Cantina bar for the Black Series here. We've got a Stormtrooper on Dewback. We've got Luke and his land speeder. So I've just done a little small cube there representing the original film. But of course, I see the 3 3/4 inch Cantina has funded. So congratulations to all that have got in on that. But I did go, again, controversially, for the Lego version. So that will be coming to the Lego room. So Star Wars will be all over this house, from Black Series to 3 3/4 to Lego to Hot Toys. Probably a little obsessed with Star Wars, I have been over the years. So there's sort of the panning shot of the angles. You can see a bit of biker mice in the corner as well. But that is that shelf. And then we come into what I'm calling a sort of Disney Plus era shelf. So a lot of the Mandalorian and Ahsoka stuff here, with scatterings of items from the Book of Boba Fett. So there's a selection of Mandalorian and Grogu's, of course, on the front of this shelf. And if I pan over the top, I've never managed to get the actual Razor Crest. So that's a little one of the sort of kids' toy versions. I've got a little bit of the flame effect on there. It's just blowing up and being eaten by an ice spider, apparently. So lots of the Mandalorian figures are in there. And then coming round to the Ahsoka sort of side, a little bit of space for expansion as well there. So there's that sort of view. As I said, a Disney Plus era. There is the Luke and the Dark Trooper. And again, there's a bit of a riser at the back of that shelf. So that's the bottom row. So now it's getting to the original trilogy stuff, which will all be moving. So we'll start on the corner, but you can clearly see that is not Star Wars. So that is my sort of Lucasfilm section. So there is Han Solo himself as Indiana Jones in full cosplay. So the Indiana Jones figures have made the front of the shelf there. And there's actually some more Hasbro figures hidden around the back. So this is the hidden display of the Ghostbusters movie figures. So they are hidden behind the massive Millennium Falcon. So they might have to get their own cube, I think, because I don't think I'll be doing that in the office area. So there is the big one itself, the absolutely massive Millennium Falcon. When the Black Series Rancor did not fund, I used the funds I'd saved up to buy that instead. So that is the purchase I made instead of a Rancor. There's the figures from Rogue One. I have sold pretty much all of my figures from the sort of films 7, 8, and 9 from the Disney era. I've kept literally a couple of them that you will see if you can zoom in at the back there. There's like one Rey, one Kylo Ren, and assorted other ones, but there's literally only a handful that remains. So there is the centerpiece diorama stuff that they used to do. I thought they were quite fun, actually. So there's a Tantive 4 corridor with the Darth Vader doing a force push, attacking the Rebel fleet troopers from under there. Try not to step on the hiss tank as I walk around the room, because I'm literally pulling the room apart and moving everything, as I always do. So let me know your thoughts today in the comments section with regards to how you display your Star Wars, what Star Wars do you collect, and are you always moving it? So there, finally, I own an AT-AT. It's taken me many years to actually find one in decent condition. So it's the Battle of Endor sort of version. I've got bridging Endor and Hoth there, but it would be nice to them to actually redo the Empire Strikes Back version in the vintage collection so I can use it within the display. So a lot of the Hoth troopers I did pick up in a sale a couple of years ago there, again using the centerpiece diorama there to recreate the Battle of Hoth from an Empire Strikes Back. Han Solo's at the back there as well, you can see. And then into Return of the Jedi, which is my favourite Star Wars film. Again, in the comments, let me know your favourite Star Wars film, because I bet that's going to be a different answer for literally everybody. I would not be surprised there. So there is Boba Fett's ship, again, 3 3/4 inch scale, but I think it works well as sort of a background piece within the 6-inch Black Series there. And then the Ewok Village trees are from the original Kenner Ewok Village. I managed to win an auction of just the trees on eBay for quite a reasonable price. So got a speeder bike and everything on the top there. I'm trying to have one of each of the retro cards along the back of the wall. So that's it really for where the Star Wars currently is. So the rest of this video can only take place once I've moved everything. And here we are then in my sort of work office, my spare room, and now my live stream area. So that's what you sort of see behind me on the live stream down there. Is a sort of Marvel and DC omnibus collection into a selection of sort of random 6-inch, trying to represent a bit of everything across the collection. I've actually expanded over to the bed. You can see my sort of pile of unopened toys that I need to get to there. And I've just done a Batman 89 cube again, similar to the Star Wars, using sort of background pieces there. So I've now managed to free up what was going to be the Lego top shelf, but Cheeky Monkey has been kind enough to let me use the garage to make sort of a massive Lego display and Lego sort of Marvel, DC, City, and sort of Lord of the Rings and Star Wars under the table, but that is to come. But that has left me this entire sort of metre long, or metre high I should say, top shelf. So I've got out my massive movie posters. So there is A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi in a huge long line. So I'm just going to fill this space with some Star Wars. Right, the structure is in, just got to add all the figures. But I've got enough ceiling height now that the Falcon can actually go the way I always wanted to display it, completely vertical. So that works nicely. There was a screw hole in the wall to hang the TIE fighter from. And then down we can have the dewback scene there. We can have Luke and his land speeder, and then a bit of the Cantina bar in front of the New Hope poster. And if I come over here, we can have Darth Vader again bridging a sort of gap between the movies into the Empire Strikes Back there, with the AT-AT and everything else there. And then over on the little one I added extra, I've got my drill out, you see, put up another shelf. We can have my bits from Return of the Jedi there, with the Slave One, the trees, and then the speeder bike as well. So that's kind of the overall structure of what the top shelf will look like. You'll probably get a sort of view like that behind me on the live stream as well. Right then, many hours later, and it is in, and I've impressed myself for once here. I think this looks pretty good, so very happy with the results there. So the original trilogy represented in the office space in movie order, with sort of Rogue One chucked in at the back as well, and even got a bit of a bonus DC display. So if I just take you through then, so I've managed to get the Millennium Falcon to actually stand up the other way. Managed to get the key bit, I think, of the poster you can still see there. So I've just tried to tell the Star Wars story, really. So we start on Tatooine down here. We head over to the ballsack aliens, if we like to call them here, and the cantina at the back. And sort of Rogue One sneaks in there, because of course it is all about setting up A New Hope. So I thought that was a good place to put the Rogue One figures. Then we head on to the Death Star, and sort of Tanty 4 bits as well there. So that's the original sort of New Hope film covered. Then we of course at the top, the TIE fighter then dangles above as well. Then we go into the Empire Strikes Back, and again we go to sort of the bounty hunter scene at the back there. All the bounty hunters are in position. Everything that would happen, of course, on Cloud City at the front there, Hanning Carbonite, and then into my favourite thing in Star Wars, I think, which is the Battle of Hoth. Do like the Battle of Hoth, even though I think Return of the Jedi is my favourite film. I think my favourite scene is the Battle of Hoth. So I have cheated and used the Battle of Endor version of the AT-AT there, but I think Luke looks pretty cool dangling out of the gap. So yeah, I think you can work these 3 3/4 items into a 6-inch display. You get the shot of the movie poster as well behind there, behind the collection. So I do think those really do set the collection off nicely there. And there's everything else within the Hoth scene. And then my drilling skills came in, so I put this little bonus unit on. As I say, down there, managed to get a bit of a bonus with a full Batman display from Batman and Robin and the original Batman 89 there, using a Kenner version of the Batcave. And then Return of the Jedi in all its epic glory in the corner, from the Battle of Endor in the front to the sort of Death Star 2 scenes across the side there. And Jabba the Hutt is just chilling at the back. So I think, ladies and gentlemen, that is it really. So that is what I've managed to achieve when it comes to moving the Star Wars display, and I'm quite happy with that. I think it'll look really good behind me on sort of all the live streams to come. So I think that's a nice backdrop, and it's gained me an absolute load of space in the toy room. So just stay tuned and I'll go and show you what space we've managed to gain. Right, still a definite work in progress here, but I've just moved the Clone Wars stuff to the corner. So Geonosis scene has stayed, and the ATT has stayed up there. So that's stayed in the corner. So I'm going to have to move the turtle shelf, because I'm going to have to get one more scene of the Disney Plus stuff in there. So turtles are going to have to move. But that will then free up, you can see, the cube. Using some CDs there as risers before. So that's going to be a free cube. That's going to be a free cube. And then this whole top space there is going to be completely free. And as you can see, I've already had an idea. So the Ghostbusters Firehouse and the Mondo Real Ghostbusters are going to sort of take the double cube at the side. This gap looks suspiciously the right size to fit a Playmates Technodrome in for the turtles. So then the Super 7 turtle figures can move up there, which will then start creating free shelves around this area as well. I think I'll move the Thundercats to be over there. I think I'm going to move Biker Mice from Mars into that cube there. Street Sharks potentially in there. So we're going to have a bit of an animated section, but we're going to end up with about 5 to 6 complete spare cubes. So plenty of room in the toy room. So I hope you've enjoyed it. Sort of a day in the life of an action figure collector here as I move stuff around. So please do leave your thoughts in the comments below. Hit that like button, subscribe if you're new. And until next time, I'll see you on the next video.